From Las Vegas, it's Let's Talk News Now with Rick and Ella.
Good morning, Las Vegas. It's time to grab that cup of coffee and come join us here at our coffee clutch inside, of course, the Queen Victoria Pub at the Riviera on the beautiful Las Vegas Boulevard. Good morning, Ella.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
We have with us this morning a very special guest, and that is Rochelle Davis. How are you?
Welcome.
Good morning.
I'm very good. Thank you, guys. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I'll tell you, we're happy to have you here. And Rochelle, we've asked you to come on the show.
Yes.
Really for a very, very specific reason, and that is your background, that you are I'm going to get this right, forensic psychologist professional.
That's impressive on its own. That's like, wow, okay, so what do you do? kind of thing. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
The reason that we asked you to come on the show specifically was that over the last few days, we, like everybody else, have been talking about some of the top stories that have been going on. And one of them was this past week, and we talked this about a little bit earlier. I was talking with Kim and with Valerie about this.
Yeah.
Is that attorney Jose Baez,
Yeah.
who was the lead attorney for the Casey Anthony case, has just recently released a book.
Yes.
And the name of his book, I'll make sure I get this correctly, it's Presumed Guilty, Casey Anthony, The Inside Story. And certainly there's an immediate response, won't you say Casey Anthony?
Right.
At the same time, though, he has now laid out in his book his theory of the case. And I want to just a point of disclaimer here, I want to make note that you usually will work as a defendant's advocate.
Yes,
is that
I do.
correct in the court systems?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, in his, just to kind of lay it out for you, because it's been a year since it happened, when Jose Baez started off with the concept that the reason why Casey Anthony was this liar, borderline sociopath, borderline a lot of things that was made out not only in the courtroom by the prosecution but also in the media, that that his point was that she had been a victim for so many years.
Of her father's abuse.
Right, of her father's abuse, sexually assaulted as a child, and he even goes on now and elaborates on that more inside this book.
Yes.
$10 million question.
Okay.
Does Casey Anthony's mannerisms, the fact that she is such a, well documented now, I mean, this isn't subjective, such a great liar, that she would take the police down a beaten path when her child is missing, that she would basically interfere with their investigation? Is this consistent with Mr. Baez's theory of what happened? Is somebody that's been abused that long, would that also be a byproduct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not 100% guaranteed that this is what happens, but absolutely, it's not unheard of. It's not uncommon. When you are abused as a child, a lot of children do create their own worlds, and a lot of time it's a fantasy world. And they have very interesting ways of protecting themselves, ways that to us, they don't make sense. It's not what we consider technically normal. But absolutely, she's not someone that I think is as unconscientious as people are making her out to be in the media. Her behavior definitely is very symptomatic of someone who suffered from long-term abuse. Very much so.
Now, question, do you think that she did it? Obviously, we don't know.
Right.
Or we do know depending on the verdict, but what would you say? Yes or no?
Well, based on the trial, and I did watch the trial, not every day, but I watched it often. No, I don't think she did it. I don't think that based on the evidence that was presented, I don't think she did it, if that makes sense. I did feel that there were a lot of loopholes in the case that the prosecution tried to present, or that they did present, and there really just was not that smoking gun. And in our judicial system, it says that we are to always acquit a guilty person before we convict someone who's innocent.
Right.
And they did not present a solid case. There was reasonable doubt, so she had to walk free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think she did it. I think that it was more a moral case. She was morally guilty because she wasn't. I don't even think she was morally guilty personally, but I think that everyone was up in arms for a specific reason.
Ladies, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. And we'll say thank you so very much.